Thanks for that kind introduction there, Paul, and thanks to the team at Reed Corporate for putting this on in this somewhat unique format today. So I'll run you quickly through the RareX story, a bit of background to the story and myself. We put this company together in about the middle of last year, and we did a backdoor listing about this time last year. It's been a very interesting 12 months, both for us and for probably everyone in the industry as well. So our main focus is rare earths. We were set up as a rare earths company. We focus on Australian assets only, development, exploration, and we hopefully plan to bring Cummins Range into production in the next 2 to 3 years. Our focus is the Cummins Range project located in the Kimberley region of Western Australia. It's been very useful operating in Western Australia during the last sort of 6 months. We've been able to get on and do most of our exploration mostly unhindered, which has been very beneficial for us and our shareholders. We've seen quite a bit of shareholder growth in the share price. The other asset that has probably been driving our share price from day to day is our joint venture in the New South Wales copper gold project. It's in the Lachlan Fold Belt. It's controlled by our joint venture partner Kincora Copper, led by some very talented people, most notably John Holliday, who was the principal discoverer of the Cadia deposit. We have also some exciting 100% more greenfields exploration plays. On the rare earths front, we have the Weld North project, which we will be drilling later this month, which is very exciting for us, and some 100% owned gold projects in the Lachlan Fold Belt. So this is our corporate snapshot. RE is the ticker. We traded on the ASX 13.5. I think we traded down to 11.5 today. So our market cap oscillates between about $40 and $50 million. Fairly well capitalised with $2.5 million in cash and $2 million in Kincora stock, which was part of the deal we did with them last year. Spent the last 12 months rejuvenating the board to bring in some serious mining expertise and serious exploration expertise. Happy to be joined by our chairman, John Young, who's in the room with us here today. One of the co-founders of Pilbara Minerals, so got a bit of experience in the industrial metals space, which is quite hard to find. Also added Cameron Henry, is the MD of Primero Group, a very well-credentialed operator and builder of plants in the space. Has built a lot of lithium plants and a lot of other industrial-type mineral plants as well. As you see there, our share price has jumped up as we've delivered on our promises at Cummins Range, most notably the drilling results from that program, which I'll talk about shortly. So rare earths, I won't spend too much time on this, but I think it's worth talking about what rare earths are and why they're very important to the new world economy. Rare earths are a group of 17 elements that sit down the bottom of the periodic table, loosely grouped into light rare earths and heavy rare earths. We're focused on light rare earths, namely praseodymium and neodymium. They take a bit of getting used to know how to say, but I finally got there. They're used in rare earth permanent magnets, which are basically the magnets and the motors which are going to drive the world going forward. They're in every EV, every wind turbine, every bit of robotics. There's probably some in your iPhone now. They're just used in absolutely everything, and the growth for these products is just going to grow exponentially over this decade. I mean, these are the two sectors that are really driving the growth story in the sector. EVs, at every wheel, at every axis of every EV car is a rare earth permanent magnet motor. It doesn't matter what the battery chemistry is, it doesn't matter who makes your car, they all have rare earth permanent magnets in them. There is simply no substitution at this point, and it's hard to see that changing over this decade. The little sleeper in the room for the rare earth market is offshore wind power. Wind power is a real growth sector. It's probably likely to outpace solar over this decade in terms of its growth rates. And offshore wind especially uses rare earth permanent magnets in large amounts. And this is due to the fact about the reliability of these magnets and these motors. You don't want to be flying out to your wind turbines in the North Sea every year to check on them. You just want them to work. And that's what rare earth permanent magnet motors do. So we see this area as a real strong growth area, and we look forward to being involved in it. And you overlay that fundamental demand for the product with what's going on geopolitically in the world, the schism, if you will, between China and the US primarily. Countries are being asked to place their bets on which side of the trade they want to be on, which is making Australia's life pretty challenging at the moment, but we I'm sure we'll make the right decisions. Trump was very strong on this in terms of recently declaring a rare earth emergency, but I don't think this geopolitical tussle is unique to Trump. I think the Biden regime will be equally as strong on trying to develop a rare earth supply chain outside of China. I don't think that's going away. I think you'll see Australia continue to be involved in developing supply chains outside of China because it is a very critical weakness for the West. These things are not only used in good technologies like EVs and wind turbines, they're also used for evil in things like missiles and warplanes and stuff, so they are very critical to nations' defence systems as well. And what you can see in rare earths, we saw this in 2011, it's very critical, very prone to supply shock. When China turned off supply to the West in 2011 over some territorial disputes with Japan, the prices ran extremely hard from about $50 a kilo to $280 a kilo. We're still sitting at $50 a kilo today, but it just shows you what can happen, and it can happen overnight. Stocks in the rare earth space ran ridiculously hard, and companies were raising hundreds of millions of dollars at very, very high share prices. So there's a fundamental demand story to rare earths, and there's also an overlay of the geopolitical tensions which can really shock the market instantly. So on to our projects. Cummins Range is our flagship project. This is where I've been working most of this year. Well located for infrastructure in the Kimberley, just south of Halls Creek. Got the Pantoro gold mine, the Savannah nickel mine, the now closed Argyle diamond mine, and a few other iron ore mines in the region as well. So very well provisioned for infrastructure. Our port of choice will probably be Wyndham, where there's currently mineral concentrates being traded in and out of at the moment. So the resource, this is a resource we somewhat inherited from the previous owners. We just brought it up to 2012 standard, 30 million tonnes at 1.13% TREO. Very importantly, it has a high NdPr content at 22.1% NdPr, which compares favourably with the likes of Mount Weld. Anything over 20% is considered good in the rare earth space, and we sit at 22.1. Notably, we have a low thorium content, which puts us ahead of the monazite producers from the mineral sands businesses, which they have about 5 to 10% thorium, which makes them quite hard to transport around the world. Ours is a low thorium product at 50 ppm. The geology of our deposit, weathered carbonatite, the same as Mount Weld. Weathered carbonatites are the only rare earth deposits that get mined in the world at this point. There are others that are threatening to come online, but weathered carbonatites are the ones we have focused on so far. We've recently finished our drilling program, 6,000 metres we completed, took us 2 to 3 months. Very good job by the team and the drilling contractor, and has delivered some exceptional results, which I'll touch on now. So as part of our strategy to go in to drill this deposit this year was to focus on a high-grade core, which we believe existed in the deposit. We saw it as not being previously recognised. My focus is on grade, not on tonnes. It's about economics in mining and geology, so that's what we've focused on, and we've succeeded in the first 20 holes we've released. This is the first line, so we've had 36 and 40 metre intercepts at over 4% rare earths and about 0.3% niobium oxide as well, which is a very good grade. This highlights our potential high-grade starter pit, which we're focusing on as part of our studies going forward as well. This is the second section we put out, 90 metres at 3.8% TREO and 0.2% niobium, which is also a good result. And this is the latest section we put out, and the one that excites me there is the 70 metres at 5.4% TREO and 0.64% niobium oxide. An intercept like that is not out of place at Mount Weld itself, and we're very excited to get that. This is in an area that had been sparsely drilled before. So we expect to add significant tonnes and grade to our potential mining studies as we've shown in this drilling. We will continue to release results over the next month. We've probably got halfway through our assaying at the moment, so we expect to get more results over the next month and release those to the market as they come in. So our strategy as a company has been to avoid the large capex bills and timing overruns that you've probably seen with the likes of Lynas over the last 10 years. Lynas is a great company now. We all love Lynas, but it has been touch and go a few times with that company. And the reason for that is the complexity in the back end of the flow sheet, the capital involved in building those things. And what we plan to do is just to produce a concentrate, a monazite rare earth concentrate. It's a simple flotation circuit, very common to the base metal business, which is loosely where my background lies. So we plan to produce a rare earth monazite concentrate plus 30% rare earth grade and sell that into existing capacity. Historically, the sole market for that has been China, but that is changing very quickly as we see support from governments in the West to build refining capacity essentially on our behalf, which we can feed into. And that will be part of our evolving story over the next couple of years. So moving on to the exploration side of the business, this is something I want to focus on strongly at RareX over the next, well, as long as I'm involved in it. We want to keep generating greenfields, exciting targets like we have at Weld North. This is a project that was brought to me by my geophysicist. He's been looking at it for years and he's finally found someone with the courage to drill it. It's a large circular geophysical anomaly in the magnetics. It looks the same as Weld, Mount Weld itself in the magnetics. It sits 80 kilometres north of Laverton, so it's in the right rocks. It's been previously interpreted to be a granite, but no one actually knows that. It all sits under sand. So the tenement was granted this year and we'll be out there drilling it at the end of this month with a simple air core program to push through the sand cover just to see what's underneath. We should know pretty quickly on this one. It'll be a zero or hero type project, but something we're very excited to get on with and have a go at. We plan to continue to generate projects like this and hope to drill one of these every year to really try and change the share price for our shareholders. So the other side of the business I'll quickly touch on. It's the New South Wales copper gold projects in the Lachlan Fold Belt. These were projects that, fortunately for myself, were in the company when I came to it as the Shell company. I could say that the previous Shell owners probably didn't quite recognise the value of these. We also got a bit lucky in the meantime in terms of the profile of the whole belt was elevated significantly with what's happening at Alkane's Boda discovery in the Lachlan Fold Belt. A lot of these projects were sort of interpreted to be mature, and a lot of them were mature, to be fair. They required quite deep and expensive drilling to take them to the next level and understand what's at depth. It was something that was beyond RareX's capacity at that point in time. So we went looking for a joint venture partner, someone that could raise the capital and apply the expertise that projects like this require. We attracted Kincora Copper, TSXV listed company, led by John Holliday, who I mentioned at the start, very well credentialed. Principal discoverer of the giant Cadia deposit, which has been the backbone of Newcrest for some 20, touching on 30 years now. So they're fully funded. They've had some success. 50 metres at 1.2 grams gold and 0.5 copper is their best hit to date. They continue to drill full steam at the Trundle project, and we all wait to see what they drill. So these are the main projects. This is the main project they're focusing on. It's the Trundle project. It sits to the west of the world-class North Parkes deposit, which is a Rio project now owned by China Moly and Sumitomo. It's interpreted to be just a rifted-off portion of that intrusive complex, and I believe it. I've seen some of the rocks that are coming out of this project. It's a very fertile porphyry environment. It's all about drilling enough holes to really spear the high-grade portion of it. Here are some of the rocks. A lot of those are skarn rocks, but very interesting, well mineralised, highly altered rocks that should indicate a very large porphyry deposit nearby. It's just a matter of doing the drilling and having the courage to drill deep, expensive holes, which Kincora do, and we wish them the best of luck because, as I probably didn't mention, but I should have really weighed on, we're 35% free carried in these projects, so it's at no cost to our shareholders. But a lot of upside left in it as well for us. Lastly, this is the gold project we have in the Lachlan Fold Belt, 100% our own. It's the Orange East project. It's an analogy to the McPhillamys gold deposit, which was found by Newmont around the start of this century. Now owned by Regis. They're in the final stages of permitting that mine, and they should be in production within the next couple of years. Our project sits along the same structure in the same package of rocks. It has the same geochemical and geophysical signatures. It's had a somewhat problematic landholder there, but we're working through those issues with him at the moment, and we hope to be out there drilling next year. And that'll be some quite cheap and exciting drilling for our shareholders. It's sort of short, sharp RC work, 200 to 300 metres, and we should know whether there's a gold deposit fairly quickly there. So in summary, RareX, we're put together as a rare earth company, and we remain a rare earth company. We believe in the thematic very, very strongly. We've had some success up at Cummins Range, which is what we set out to do when we started this company. We'll push that project through feasibility mode next year. And beyond that, we plan to keep generating new greenfields type targets in the rare earth space. We don't believe companies have had a concerted effort to go finding world-class rare earth deposits in Australia, and that's something I want to do with this company. And beyond that, you're free carried in some very exciting copper gold porphyry exploration in the Lachlan Fold Belt, driven by some very competent people and a well-funded group. So that's us, modest market cap still compared to some of our peers. You know, other peers in the space, Arafura, Hastings and that are well over the 100 million market cap. We're sort of sub 50 today, so we still think there's a lot of upside in what we're doing. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeremy. We do have one question from a shareholder who asks, given the situation with China, have you given much thought to selling this product to the US? And if so, what would you do about that?
Yes, I think about this a lot. We have had a relationship with Talaxis Group. We still have a relationship with Talaxis Group, which has primarily been a China-focused trading house. We're sort of revisiting the relationship there. They themselves internally are focusing their effort on accessing some of the government funds available in the US and in Australia and pivoting their sort of focus towards the West, and we are pivoting our thinking towards the West as well. But we don't have anything concrete at this point, but we are thinking about it.
So is there potential in your mind for a US group to come in and farm into the project?
Yes, there is good potential for that. We're out there. We're just getting up and running with our project and advertising the project, and we'll have some product very shortly that we can go show to off-takers, and hopefully on the back of that we'll invite them in to have a look at the whole project.
Thanks very much, Jeremy.
Thank you.